Ooh, another white boy with a podcast. Pronouns, Jim Bro. Another white boy with a podcast. You want to see the video? It went viral.
Hi Gains Gurus and welcome to TMGP, the Muscle Growth Podcast, episode 37. I am your host Roscoe and today we are welcoming Jonathan Kantor onto the show. In today's episode of the Muscle Growth Podcast, we're joined by the exceptional Jonathan Kantor, a champion NPC men's physique bodybuilder and online transformation coach. A rising force in the physique world and a true embodiment of discipline, detail, and dedication, Jonathan shares his journey from sculpting a championship caliber body to helping others do the same through coaching. Whether you're chasing a pro card, aiming for a perfectly balanced V-taper, or simply trying to optimize your fitness journey, this episode is packed with practical takeaways. From hypertrophy training principles and performance-focused nutrition to the mindset needed to push through prep and stand out on stage, Jonathan breaks down exactly what it takes to succeed in one of bodybuilding's most competitive divisions. In today's episode, we dive into a wide range of insights. Some of the topics include origins and journey, first steps in the gym, evolution from training to lifestyle coaching, background in psychology and human behavior, deep commitment to client transformation and results, training philosophy, managing stress through structured training, gaining muscle versus losing fat, the key differences, mastering progressive overload and training to failure. Fat loss is won in the kitchen, not the gym. The mindset of intensity, nutrition and bodybuilding basics, why protein intake is non-negotiable. Yes, you can build muscle in a deficit, targeting 250 grams of protein daily, aiming as high as 300 grams, using 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight as a guide, the aesthetic being more important than the scale weight, chasing the look, not the number, mental prep and physical readiness for stepping on stage, mindset and mental game, how prep breaks you physically and mentally, from frustration to gratitude, the mindset pivot, embracing the grind and enjoying the suffering, shifting from I can't to I won't quit, practicing daily reflection and internal growth during prep, community, the power of surrounding yourself with like-minded people, finding support and inspiration in the fitness space, prep and genetics, what makes prep manageable versus miserable, genetics and body types, why comparison kills, Jonathan's go-to cheat meal, tips for making cheat meals guilt-free and enjoyable, his top 3 supplement picks, culture and misconceptions, deep dive into modern fitness culture, debunking common bodybuilding myths, social media toxicity and the drama loop, including a bonus section at the end where Jonathan reflects on a past mistake and his interaction with the well-known fitness critic Goob, why some people love to hate on the sport, PEDs and enhancement, PEDs in pro bodybuilding, reality versus perception, the enhanced games concept, should we have a PED-friendly league for transparency and safety? And then lastly, if bodybuilding is for you, and so much more. Get ready for a truly informative episode. Quick shameless self-plug. I'm starting to upload consistently on Reps with Roscoe on YouTube, so check that out for some epic fitness edutainment content. A little disclaimer. This show does not contain medical advice. The views and opinions expressed by guests on the Muscle Growth Podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect my beliefs or the stance of the podcast. While we aim to provide valuable insights and information, it's important to approach all topics with critical thinking. I encourage you to do your own research, consider multiple perspectives, and form your own conclusions. Healthy discussion is always welcome, and I'm happy to engage with listeners in the YouTube comments section to continue the conversation. Lastly, don't forget to follow us on all major social media platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X. Find us at the Muscle Growth Podcast and myself at Reps with Roscoe. Warning. This episode of the Muscle Growth Podcast contains explicit content and is not intended for younger audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome, Jonathan, to the Muscle Growth Podcast.
Thank you, Roscoe. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Where we explore subjects related to muscle science and hypertrophy. I'm thrilled to have you join us for today's conversation. Let's jump right in and dig into some exciting topics together. Can you briefly introduce yourself and your journey into the world of bodybuilding and being a lifestyle coach?
Sure. My name is Jonathan Kantor, guys. My Instagram handle is at CantorFitMP. MP actually standing for Men's Physique. A few guys do ask me, but it's Men's Physique. I'm 26 years old. I started going to gym since I was 19. I'd say my proper introduction to bodybuilding, seriously, let's call it 2 years ago, since January 2023 when I joined Armand. But, obviously I have over the years, started to learn more about dieting and training, just in my own personal capacity, working with other coaches. When I thought I was taking training and dieting super seriously, but looking back at it now, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. And even now, I don't know as much as I probably think I do. And there's always more to learn. And I always love just engaging with people and understanding the ins and outs of bodybuilding and diet, training, so on and so forth. As a lifestyle coach, I've worked with quite a handful of people over my time coaching, which has been about a year now. And I'm always looking to, I am, studying specialized nutrition currently with Focus Academy. I do intend to do as many courses as possible in my own personal capacity. And when it comes to, my lifestyle coaching, what I have noticed, like genuinely, like those clients who do follow the plan, to, the capacity or 80% of it, do achieve like really, really decent results. You do get those select few, who realize, okay, this really isn't for them. And that's totally okay. Their results obviously are not going to be as good as everyone knows when it comes to, achieving the results. Key and point is going to start with diet. So I do place most of my emphasis on the diet that I give my clients, and I make it as easy for them as possible. And I try accommodating as possible. So I will ask my clients, obviously, okay, would you rather follow like a stricter approach or more of like a balanced approach where, I can add whatever you like into your diet. Obviously, I'm not going to add in, chips and chocolates and so on and so forth. But if you want to, have the option to choose between prawns and tuna, yeah, we can make, stuff like that. So I like to give my clients lots of variety, lots of flexibility. And one thing that I think, I wouldn't say separates me from other coaches, because I know a lot of coaches like to utilize this approach, but I do have a degree in psychology, and I have a passion for, just helping people with just bettering themselves mentally. And that is something I try and, bring in with my clients. I find that I get very vested in my clients' journey. So if I don't hear from them for a bit, I think, okay, maybe something could be wrong. Like, let me check in on them. And it's always, for me, it's always sad when a client leaves, because I really want to see them do well. And sometimes I do feel like I care more about their results than they do, which is quite funny. But nothing brings me more warmth in my heart and happiness and just satisfaction than seeing a client succeed and follow the plan and be happy with their results at the end of the day. I hope that answers your question.
No, absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And I think it's wonderful that you're doing something where you can help people. And I think it's great that you enjoy helping people and you love seeing them get better. I think that's a really beautiful message. So it sounds like you're in the right work. So congratulations for that.
I mean, truth be told, I've been there, where I've been in shape and I fell off the wagon. for a very long time, and I know how that made me feel mentally to be so physically out of shape, or in my opinion at least, so physically out of shape, and how I now feel mentally being back in shape and fitter, stronger, better. Just in like it's really transpired into all facets of my life, to be honest. So I know that if I've been there and I can get out of it, there's no reason why somebody else can't. I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular guy, you know.
A jacked regular guy.
I appreciate that, Roscoe. Thank you. There's a lot.
Super Jack. I like how you almost got the Muscle Growth podcast slogan there of bigger, stronger, better. The only one you missed there was bigger, but it was implied by your fitters, so it was very close. But I like how it aligns very nicely with the things that you've done and the accomplishments that you've achieved.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So what's the difference between building muscle and losing fat?
Well, obviously, I mean, there's obviously, I don't think there's any cookie cutter approach. This is my opinion. I mean, building muscle, if you want to look at it from a very elementary level and look at that kind of an explanation, it's simply just, making sure you're eating adequate amount of protein, being in a calorie surplus and putting your muscles under constant stress. Now, my opinions about training and approaching training, many people I know will disagree with, but this is how I approach my training, and it's it's worked for me, and it's how I told my clients to approach their training. Yes, well, I have absolutely utilized the progressive overload method, and I have tracked my weights and I've tracked my progress, and it absolutely works. There's, like, in science, it works. Like, progressive overload, obviously meaning putting your muscle under more stress, every week, every couple of weeks, making sure you're doing more volume coming from the reps, the weight, and the sets you are doing multiplied by each other. But the way I like to approach my training, the way I enjoy it, and the way I find my clients enjoy it, and it's also with my coach, my coach, unless I ask him to do it, which I haven't, doesn't structure my training, because training in hindsight is different to dieting, which is where the fat loss comes in, but it needs to essentially be enjoyed as much as possible. So I'm of the opinion, okay, your muscle doesn't know how much it's lifting. It merely knows that it's being put under stress at the end of the day. So if you are going to the gym and you are lifting weights with proper form, the way I approach my training is proper form, slow and controlled reps. And I don't count my reps, like, I stop when I can't really lift anymore, or I can feel that I have got like 2 reps left in the tank or 1 rep left in the tank. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of people make, is they'll say, okay, I'm now going to go and do 10 reps, 12 reps, 15 reps, whatever that may be. But truth be told, they'll do these number of reps and they can actually physically lift more. So, if I pick up a weight and I'm able to lift it 25 times, sure, I will adjust the weight next set because that's just a bit excessive. But I'm going to ensure that my muscle is being put under as much stress as possible each set I do. And that, for me, has equated to my progress and muscle growth. And it's the same thing I've seen with my clients. When it comes to losing fat, also elementary explanation, calories in, calories out. If you eat less calories than you are burning, you are going to be losing fat. And obviously, if you want to preserve the muscle tissue, I believe that your protein intake needs to be quite a bit higher, and you need to be putting in the same amount of effort that you do, like when you're bulking and putting on. And I've seen it. It's happened with me. I've seen it happen with my clients. You can absolutely build muscle in a calorie deficit. There's no reason why you can't, so long as you are still putting your muscle under stress and giving it reason to stay. End of the day, body fat is more essential for your body to hold on to than muscle mass. It's more essential to survival. So if you don't give your body a reason to hold on to that muscle, it's going to prioritize, keeping body fat. And before I really lose my train of thought here, that's essentially why, maybe this isn't the best approach to do, but like if you can look at trying to train even harder when in a calorie deficit, all it's going to do is speed up your fat loss process.
Wow, interesting. And what would you say? You mentioned high protein. What is that for you and for your clients?
Well, for me, I mean, I follow the diet my coach gives me. Like I see it, I follow it. My protein intake, I would say, is never below 250 grams of protein.
Sure.
It's gone up to over 300 grams before. Clients, I look at, given the fact that 99% of the clients I've taken are natural athletes, 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, 1.5 to 2 grams. I like doing 2 grams.
Okay. 300 grams a day is a lot. What is your body weight at that time or now? And now?
I mean, I can actually have a look for you, like right now, exactly what I'm.
Go for it.
For a bit of my diet here. So, I mean, I can tell you now, obviously on my higher carb days, protein's actually lower, but on my right now, currently, my normal training day, I'm eating 250 grams of protein. On my rest days, I eat 267, and my higher carb days, 240. But it has been as high as 300. I can tell you that, and it's higher. At the moment.
Wow. And what do you weigh?
I weighed in at 80.9 this morning, which is a new low weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you aiming for stage? And you're in prep now, are you deep in prep?
Yeah. I'm 2 weeks and 6 days out now. I'm not aiming for a weight because at the end of the day, whatever I weigh, I did have this discussion with my coach. He reckons a stage weight of between 81 and 82 kilos. But at the end of the day, like when it comes to weight, you walk on the beach or you go and you stand on stage, no one actually cares what you weigh. It's about the look. So I also tell my clients, stop focusing on the scale. It's merely a tool. Whatever I weigh. Wherever you weigh, you weigh.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. So what division are you competing in?
Men's physique.
Men's physique. Okay. Is that what is it, class A, class B?
Class C. So I'm 107. I'm 170. I'm between 174 and 175. So call it 174.5 centimeters tall. That's class C.
Oh, okay. Are you excited?
I cannot wait. Since I got off stage last year, I'm like, fuck, I cannot wait. Can I swear, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah, we can. We'll make it an explicit episode. Go for it.
I was like, I fucking cannot wait to do this again. And it was literally, I don't think there was a day that went by that, like this whole year, that I haven't thought about getting back on stage. So yeah, I mean,
wow.
I am so excited, and I'm also sad that prep's coming to an end because then I have to wait for the next fucking prep to start. So, like, no, I really, really am excited to just get back up on stage, showcase my hard work that I put in the off season and during prep, and wherever I come. Like I know I've beaten last year's package quite convincingly, and I just want to get up there, have a good time, and then do it all over again. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's you versus you.
It's you versus you at the end of the day. Yeah, 100%.
So tell us, how have you approached this prep differently from last year's prep?
Good question. Okay, so this is my second prep. Last year's prep, when I started prep, I can say I severely underestimated how hard it was going to be. So I remember I'd have my days, I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling tired. And then I remember I was getting closer towards 4 weeks out. And then I hit 4 weeks out and I was like feeling okay. And then I remember I went to the guy who was coaching me for posing at the time, Kieran Mason. And he says, how far out are you now? I said, I'm 4 weeks. He's like, yeah, now you're going to know all about it. And I'm like, yeah. They all say that. and fuck, that are really shit. Hey, like that was really, really hard. And my mindset last prep was like, especially the last 4 weeks, was I can't wait for this bullshit to end. I am so tired of eating hake and rice 4 or 5 times a day, and getting very little hard days and refeed days. And I was just like, all I could think about was food, 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 food. And when can I eat? When can I eat? And then when I'd eat, I'd finish my meal in like 20 seconds. And I was just so focused on like prep finishing. I thought I wasn't enjoying prep. It's just that like I found too many reasons to complain as to how hard it was, that I forgot to really remember this is a privilege that I'm getting to do this. Prep is very expensive. You know, not everyone has the financial means to prep. Not everyone, you know, has the resources available to them that allows them to prep. And, you know, I wasn't really grateful for the opportunity that I had sitting on my lap. And I remember like around 3 weeks out, don't get me wrong, I was very, very lean. I was very, very lean. I went for a 7 skin fold test, and I came out at 4.52% body fat. Now I know, obviously, look at stuff like 11 skin fold tests; those are way more accurate. And I know, I even knew at the time I wasn't 4.5%. But I remember, like, I saw this number 4.5. I'm like, okay, there's no ways I can actually get leaner now. So let me just chill, take it easy, and just make prep as pleasant as possible. And that was actually my downfall, because I stopped progressing. I stopped getting leaner. So I'd say my condition at 3 weeks out was as good as my stage condition. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't at all displeased with my condition I brought to stage last year at Eye Candy. I was actually very happy. But this prep, what's made it so different is, I remember how hard last prep was for me, like mentally and physically. And I thought to myself, fuck, okay, I'm keen to suffer again. I said to my coach probably 20, 30 times, I can't wait to suffer. I want to suffer. And like, truth be told, okay, I don't want to jinx it. You know, I've still got, what is it now? 20 days. I've got 20 days. I have not suffered this prep like I have last prep. Not because it hasn't been as hard, but because my mindset has been different. I've been practicing a lot more gratitude, and just, I think I'm a lot hungrier to come in as lean as possible. You know, like, I can wake up now feeling absolutely trashed. You know, I've struggled to walk to the bathroom to take a pee, or I don't feel like getting up and going to do my cardio. And I think, no, we want to get peeled, so we're going to go do this cardio. And, you know, once I'm doing my walk and I've got my music in, and I've got these daydreams in my head and these visions, like, it's just, you know, it's very, it's like this dopamine rush, and this just being positive. And I remember last prep, I also like really, really kept to myself and just like, don't talk to me, just leave me alone, let me do my thing. And this prep, like, I've really been communicating more with other athletes, and have come to the realization that there's honestly so much camaraderie, there's so much support. I feel the fitness industry receives a lot of, it's got a very unfair rep to it. It's thought to be very toxic and vain and solo, and it honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth. And I think just me electing to surround myself with a lot of like-minded people who have the same love and passion for bodybuilding and competing like I do, it's just made prep that much easier. Like, it really, really has. And not alluding to the fact that my coach has been slamming me with many, many refeeds. I'm not going to say this hasn't happened, but I'd say that's what's made this prep different, is the is the mindset. And it's also helped me realize that your mind is so powerful. It is so, so powerful. And if you tell yourself you are feeling cuck and you are feeling weak, you are going to be cuck and you're going to be weak. But if you tell yourself you are strong and you are still able to push and you are a legend, that's exactly what you're going to be.
Absolutely. The mind is, yeah.
It's like, now I can go look at my stats. Like, I walk 20,000 steps pretty effortlessly. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. It's just that, like, I'm enjoying, let's go do cardio. Let's go train. Let's meal prep. Let's do this thing. Whereas last year I saw it more as a chore. Now it's more like I get to do this.
It's more of a challenge now, but like a positive challenge. It's not more of a chore. It's more, I'm challenging myself to do it. So what do you think one can do to make prep easier, given how mentally and physically taxing it is? You mentioned gratitude, and you've also mentioned having a support structure in place. Do you want to touch on those two or go through something else?
What makes prep easier? So yeah, I'd say practicing gratitude, and definitely a good support system. Having friends and family who understand what you are doing. At the end of the day, prep is a very selfish thing. Prep is a very, very selfish. You have to be selfish with prep. I'm not saying never do anything for anyone else and just it's all about you, but it's selfish, and it's important to have people behind you who love you and who support you and who care, who want to see you succeed, and ultimately who understand. And I don't know if FJ Pretorius is going to watch this podcast, but if I can tell you that this prep would not have been as, I don't want to say easy, because it's not, far fucking from, very, very far from. Prep is not easy, but I would not have managed it nearly as well without his call it TLC. I feel like I really had his back during his prep. I was 6 weeks behind him, so when he was like 5 weeks out, I was 11. So I kind of had his back during prep, and now it's kind of like he's electing to have mine. So we've kind of pushed each other through our preps, and it's that in itself has been an absolute game changer. Not to mention other guys on my team who are competing in 3 weeks, like Ruben De Jager and Josh Rabins. My coach Armand's competing. We're all in this together. So having a good team, just to talk to people, and also like last prep, like all I could think about, like all I was ever doing was I was in the kitchen, or I was in the gym, or I was sleeping, or I was complaining. It's good, and I recommend it very highly when you are not cooking your food, when you are not doing cardio, when you are not lifting weights. Do and talk about stuff that has nothing to do with bodybuilding.
I like that. So it's important to keep the balance.
Absolutely.
And to be present when you're doing other things, not just when you're doing the gym.
Just be in the moment. Just be like, and I feel like when you're more in the present moment, you forget about being hungry. You forget about being tired. Not that you're not going to be, because you will, but it's going to be less prevalent.
Sure. Well, I hope that you better force FJ and all those people you've given shout outs to listen, because now they've got big reason to listen. So tell them they must wait for you to call them out, and then they can stop at that stage, or keep listening to you since they want to support their friend. And then you mentioned that you've been getting multiple refeeds of 4,500 calories, I believe, by Armand. And why this close to the show? And how do you keep getting leaner?
I've been working with Armand for 2 years, and he knows my body like he knows the back of his hand. Like, and it's gotten to the point now, like, where I've also kind of, for fun, just like studied how he likes to do things with me. So like, it's quite funny. So like, me and Ruben will send each other check-ins every morning, just to hold each other accountable. And I'll say to Ruben, yeah, here's my weight, and Armand's going to give me a refeed today, or he's going to give me a low day today. And be like, but how the fuck do you know this? I'm like, because I just know. And 9 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times I'm correct. So it's like, listen, end of the day, us as athletes, we all have different genetics. We all have different bodies. We all have different metabolisms. We all respond differently to different foods. So for, I think, coaches to copy and paste diets for clients is, while it can work, I wouldn't say it's the wisest thing in the world. I mean, to be honest, like, my metabolism for someone of my size, I'm not the biggest guy in the world by any means. My metabolism is an anomaly. I have a very, very, very quick metabolism. In my off season, I was pressing around 6,000 calories, clean food. It got to a point where I was being told to eat 3 to 4 cheat meals a week in order to get my weight up even half a kilogram in the span of 2 weeks. Like, I'm not even joking. So what happens with my body is when I am given a refeed, where my carbs are currently at 850, I believe, on my refeed days, my weight does one of two things. It either drops the next day, or it will hold and then drop. It's always one of the two. So that is basically what kind of ignites and just keeps my metabolism in hyperdrive. Not to say it's going to work for everyone else, but that's what works for me. And people keep saying, "Oh no, you're so lucky. You're getting all these refeeds." Like, the last 2 weeks, my average weekly calorie consumption per day, when you average it out, has been about 3 to 3,500. Which at 4 weeks out and 3 weeks out sounds pretty bizarre, but that's what, especially for a guy weighing 81 kilograms in men's physique, it doesn't sound, like that's how it should be. But that's how my body works. You increase the carbs, I'm going to drop the weight with a lower body fat. That's how it goes. And that's why I implement it so much, because that's what works for me. But people are saying, "Yeah, you're so lucky. And yeah, I love my refeed days. I have the nicest food ever. But it's those days where I am hungriest, and it's my rest days where I'm most satiated. And my rest days are currently at 2,000 calories, because on my hard days, my fats are very, very low. And by low, I mean like it's like 4 grams. No, like 12 grams for the day or less. And fats are something that keep you satiated. And there's no fiber there. Where my rest days, where fats is higher and fiber is higher, it's going to satiate me for longer periods of time. I've had some refeed days where I've finished my meals by, I'm not joking, 6:37 p.m. So while they are nice to receive, it's not always the most pleasant thing to be doing.
And what's your favorite cheat meal?
My favorite cheat meal. You can never go wrong with the bacon and cheeseburger, and chips. Never go.
From where?
Oh,
from home?
No. EGR in Johannesburg really, really is really good. I'm a big fan of Hudson's here in Cape Town and in Joburg. Tiger's Milk make pretty. I really enjoy a gourmet burger, or if I'm going to go like really, really fast food, I'm on a shame to say I love my McDonald's. I love my Burger King. The extra long chili cheese from Burger King is next level good. And I hate you for asking me this question when I'm 3 weeks out.
Sorry about that.
But no, it's good. But it's that. And a pizza. I also love a pizza. But I really, really try and mitigate that. I've had 2 pizzas this whole year, simply because it's very, very fatty. So the nutritional value isn't great. And the high fatty content in a pizza is not great for your digestive system. So also, with my clients, it's very, very rare that I said it when I give a cheat meal, where I'll say, go have anything you want. I'll say, please go have a burger and chips or go have sushi and don't have too much mayo. Don't have too many fried things. I'd rather you have extra carbohydrates for your cheat.
Absolutely. That makes sense. And then you mentioned earlier about the fitness culture and how, in your experience, it's very different to what people propagate online. I think that's an interesting perspective, because I think for the most people, I think it is probably quite a toxic thing. And I think it's great that you found a community where that's not the case. But I think overall, a lot of it is quite toxic. There's a lot of really influential people in the fitness community that are quite toxic. That you got the likes of the fake natties, you've got the likes of the people that are spreading these false body images that are edited, photoshopped, pumped up, and those kind of things. I don't know if you know the influencer Goob_U2 or something. He's quite interesting.
To hear Jonathan's story about his encounter with Goob, stick around until the end. It's included as a bonus section after the main episode wraps.
No. I was just saying, just examples of people, the fitness culture being quite toxic in general. And I think a lot of people propagate a false image online, and cookie cutter programs, like you mentioned previously, those kinds of things. But what I was trying to get at was that I'm really glad that you've been able to find a community that is the opposite to that, and that actually uplifts you. You said you have your friend that you check in with, you got your coach, you got your team, and I think that's really important.
Not just my coach, not just FJ, not just Ruben, like so many people like competing in other divisions. And some guys I haven't even met personally. Like just a lot of camaraderie and upliftment. It's actually very refreshing, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. And like I think that, you know, you asked me about like the fitness industry. Now the fitness industry is a very broad spectrum, because you can look at things like cycling, like running, like swimming, like tennis, stuff like that. So let's talk about the bodybuilding side of things. I feel it gets a very negative rep because, I really, really can't understand this. It's not like I'm naive and don't understand and can't relate to other people, because I can. Let's say you're an outsider and you follow one or two people in the bodybuilding industry because maybe you know them from out and about, and you're seeing, okay, cool, there's this guy flexing his abs or flexing his biceps or this or that. This guy's a doers. This guy is so full of himself. This guy thinks he is the shit. And really, that is not the case. So I understand, like, it comes across as vain and narcissistic and arrogant. But all that it really is like, why are we different to the cyclists posting their Strava times on Instagram stories? Because we're not.
For sure. No, and I totally agree with you, and I understand your point there. And I just wanted to emphasize that dichotomy between what you just said about how you've got your community, you've got your friends, and you've got so much support on the one hand, but then on the other hand, you commented something that maybe you shouldn't have, and then you got so much hate just because of one comment. Like, it's quite interesting how...
Ross, no, you...
Yeah.
I still get comments on my feed sometimes. I'm not even
sorry
joking.
about like I said, I'm sorry about that, but it's so interesting. It's interesting how you have people on the one side who are trying to be positive.
Like I remember, and like while I was like laughing, is like I remember like someone sent me a photo from my own Instagram page of me and one of my mates. It was like, I knew you were gay. Oh, yeah.
Confirmed.
What do you? I don't even know what to respond to something. Like, it's just like, I was like, some messages were so unnecessary.
Yeah, people online, they really don't have filters, because it's so easy to just send a message. You don't have to think, you don't have to know context, and you can't tell tone, and there's all those kind of issues that go along with it. Social media is a fantastic tool, but it's one that we maybe abuse.
Listen, I've learned it can be a very dangerous thing as well, right? It really, really can.
It is.
There's a lot of things that can be said, like even on WhatsApp, that can be
Yeah,
totally misinterpreted. So you have to be so.
completely misconstrued.
I've realized you have to be so careful with what you post and what you say, and it's okay. I think to sometimes voice a controversial opinion. You know, I have many controversial opinions, some of which I elect not to speak about for like personal reasons, or I just know it's going to get me into trouble. I'd rather talk about it privately, but like it could be a really, really dangerous thing. And while it is so lekker and so awesome to go see drama going on between two people, well, like a couple, we all love it. Everyone fucking is here for drama. Everyone loves gossip. Like, sure, but like, second, it's you in the spotlight.
Yeah, it's not so fun.
No, it's not.
No, I agree. Humans are drawn to drama, and it's very interesting. You, with a psychology degree, will understand that very well.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. When it's you in the drama, you're like, no, I want to be watching. I don't want to be in it. So that's quite interesting.
And it's like you can't escape.
Yeah.
You just have to wait for like calm
Exactly.
down. But at the end of the day, it always calms down.
For sure.
Unless you keep being an idiot,
Yeah.
then it just
It's quite. That reminds me of the Jeff Nippard incident where he was like slam choked in the throat. Yeah,
that was
crazy.
And until you brought that up now, I've forgotten about it.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up, and now this episode is probably going to be released in quite a while, and then everyone who's forgotten about it's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. So sorry about that to everyone who's gone past that trauma.
No, man.
One of the kind of controversial topics that you said you were keen to maybe discuss is PEDs in professional sport. So do you want to have your quick take on that?
Do you want to like be a bit more specific, like with regards to like what, like?
So, kind of like from the ethical side of things, what is your perspective on PEDs in bodybuilding and then PEDs in other sports, in all sports? To be fair, it doesn't have to just be anabolics. It can be, you know, beta blockers, cognition enhancers, all that kind of stuff.
So, truth be told, I'm not too cleared up on beta blockers, so I'm not going to touch on that. But my opinion, any endurance or physical sport at the very, very top level, I really am of the opinion that most of them are on shit, and I can't blame them, because I'll say straight up, like, you know, if I have to take something in order to ensure that my family gets to eat, and I know people might say no, but you will, and I certainly will. And it's almost like in bodybuilding, like everyone knows that, okay, 95% of bodybuilders are on stuff. So that's where it gets like the steroid stigmatism, but not everyone on steroids is jacked. Like, they can help you get jacked if you put in the work. They won't, and that's also a misconception of steroids. There's people like, okay, I'm just going to take steroids and get jacked. No, like, they don't fucking work that way. And I know it upsets so many people, because they aren't muscle builders. They give you the edge by doing a variety of so many different things, which I'm not even going to get into because I can talk about it for another 43 minutes. But stuff like, for example, EPO. It's a performance enhancer. Like, I think a lot of the guys, as I said, competing in the most grueling endurance and physical sports, most of them are on stuff. And yeah, drug testing has become a lot more advanced. Doctors have become a lot more clever at the same time. They really have. Like, how did Lance Armstrong get away with it for how many years?
A lot.
And funnily enough, have you ever heard how Lance got caught? He didn't fail a drug test.
No, he didn't fail. He passed 500 drug tests.
Yeah.
He was a whistleblower.
There was a whistleblower. Lloyd Flanders, I think. Floyd Landis. Whistleblower, because he got caught. He won the Tour de France.
Welcome back, Jonathan, to the Muscle Growth Podcast. Good to have you back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties last year, and I'm super happy to have you back on the podcast.
No, we did. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Only a pleasure. So I think the last thing you were chatting about before your computer died was professional sports, PEDs, and basically Floyd Landis, I believe is the guy's name, who was the whistleblower for Lance Armstrong. Do you want to just finish off on that topic? Then we'll move into the next.
I mean, so what I know about the story is because I did study this or follow the topic for quite a while. I am quite a avid fan of cycling. I think it's an awesome sport, and it takes a tremendous amount of effort and grit. Is that, so obviously Lance Armstrong and the remainder of his team, they were using performance enhancement drugs, such as testosterone. EPO was a big one. They were blood doping, so they were removing their blood and they were then putting it back into their bodies, just before they would race. And when they would go back to their van after the race, they would blood dump again, so that if they got tested for their hematocrit, they had to be like below 5, and then they were in the clear. So Lance actually won 7 Tour de France's, while doping. And he retired in 2005. And I know Floyd Landis, who I believe was on his team at a stage, he won the 2006 Tour de France, and he was buzzed for what I believe was testosterone. He was suspended. Lance really missed racing. He missed winning. And he came back, I believe, in 2009 to race again. And he says he did that clean. I'm not too sure if he actually did. But I know Floyd was allowed to come back and race when Lance, joined again. Or I could be getting this entirely wrong. I know Floyd wanted to join Lance's team, and Lance said no because he was buzzed for doping before. So that's when Floyd basically whistle blew, and he gave up Lance and the entire team. In my opinion on the matter is Lance should never have been stripped of his 7 gold medals. He won those Tour de France's, yes, with the help of performance enhancement drugs, but so was everybody else. Well, I think at least the top 20. So if the top 20 all doping and Lance is winning, why is he being stripped? So I mean, my opinion on that matter is Lance is still, in my eyes, a 7 Tour de France champion, 7 times Tour de France champion. He won. It's a grueling 3-week race where you are cycling hundreds of kilometers every single day. So I think whether you do that race with or without PEDs, it's a tremendous achievement in itself. And PEDs are not, obviously they help. Of course they help. That's why people use them. But I don't think they are providing as much help as people think they do.
Yeah, no, it's still mentally taxing, physically taxing. And the fact that like everyone at the top level has to do it shows you that it's not just one person.
Well, with how advanced testing is nowadays, I don't know if guys are still doping or if they are finding ways around it. I mean, we never know. I mean, whether in my eyes to do the Tour de France without help, you have respect, like major respect.
No, I mean, I remember I studied it in my first year at university for a project, and in the textbook that we used, it was all about doping. We got it from the library at Stellenbosch, and basically this textbook said that 19 out of the top 20 Tour de France finishers, like of the top 20, were either caught doping or suspected of doping. But like when they say suspected, they mean they were very sure that they were. They don't just suspect you lightly. Like it means they had good reason. And if 19 out of 20 are either caught or suspected under like proper suspicion, that probably means that the 20th guy just got lucky. He's probably also on it, like, and that's the only way that you can be the best in the world is if you're willing to do what the best in the world do. And unfortunately for every sport, it's not just cycling. Cycling is not a special sport in terms of it being overrun by doping. I think that it's just one that's been in the public eye because of the whistleblowing, because of the big things, like you said, like having your medals stripped, that kind of stuff. I think it's probably a lot more common in all kind of major physical sports than people realize. What do you think about that statement?
I don't want to give too much of a controversial opinion on this matter. I mean, what I think is that when you are performing at a level like that with the best in the world, you know, if you are expected to perform at a certain level and you performing at this level is going to determine whether you are able to A, stay on the team, and B, feed your family with what you've achieved on this team, then who is someone to judge, you know, somebody else who is deciding whether or not to use these drugs? Because 9 times out of 10, the people who are judging these athletes who may or may not be using drugs to perform at this level, if they went and used drugs themselves, likelihood is they won't be in that athlete's position. You know, you can take all the PEDs in the world. It is not going to replace years of training, discipline, and hard work. It's, you know, it's going to give you the ability to perform at a high level and recover at a quicker rate. In terms of the enhanced games, which, you know, certainly sounds appealing to watch, I'd be interested to see if there's actually a very big difference in the results and the times you see in these games versus a tested Olympics. Because again, as I said, I do believe that more people and more athletes are using these drugs than we are exposed to and we understand. I just think that doctors and drug timing and certain compounds used and certain drugs used it's getting so advanced that there will always be ways around the system. So I'm interested to see if there's a big discrepancy in results with these unnatural games. Again, I mean, if there are any discrepancies, and I think the results are going to actually show a lot as into how accurate and how efficient the doctors and the testers are at the tested Olympic Games as well. I'm willing to bet that we are not going to see too many discrepancies in the untested federations. Yeah,
I agree. I don't think there's going to be much difference in the Olympics, the tested Olympics versus the enhanced games. And the reason I say that is because, like we've established, I think there's already kind of a lot of doping in the Olympics. And I think it's I think it's swept under the rug. And like you said, the doctors are so advanced now. They have bioidentical compounds. There's no way to test for a lot of them. And as soon as a new testing method comes out, they figure out a way to break the system, to kind of skirt along the outlines and make sure that they beat the system. And sure, people get tested often and sometimes they fail. And then they get a 1-year suspension or a 2-year suspension and they come back twice as big. And they're like, yeah, and now I'm clean. And it's like, what? That's crazy. I've seen that in rugby and other sports as well. It's wild. But anyway, like they should just
combat sports
and combat sports. Yeah.
They just come back so jacked.
No, it's crazy.
Like after being injured, especially, they come back
twice
so jacked, so ripped, and like, how?
And they're like, I just started training harder. And we're like, no, you didn't.
I'm sure you did.
No, you didn't. You've always trained harder. Like you can't suddenly, and you're injured and now you come back bigger, stronger, better. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see what the enhanced games brings. I'm interested to see.
I had no idea they were even doing these enhanced games, so I'm keen to watch it.
They say they have someone faster than Bolt. Whether that's true or not, let's see.
That would be very interesting, eh? I would love to see if Bolt's time can be beaten. I would love to see that. I think even if someone were to beat it unnaturally, that would be highly impressive.
I don't even think that would be any different to how he did it, to be honest.
You think Bolt's doping or has doped?
Of course. Absolutely. have you seen the sprinters? They are all caught for doping. And for you to be the best sprinter when you're sprinting against other people that have been caught doping, for you to be better than them naturally, I just don't see it happening. You have to be the best in the world, you have to have the best genetics in the world and the best doping as well. Like, that's the combination of things, and the mindset and the physical ability and everything. I don't see it happening naturally. I don't believe it. I also saw what he looked like as a kid and at 19, and he was a cricketer and super skinny. And then when he broke the world record, very different body, entirely different. And again, I'm skeptic, so I don't believe that he did it naturally. But if he did, then fantastic, well done to him. But also, I believe where he's from, PEDs are illegal. I don't think that they're illegal where he's from. So I think it's quite widespread. But that needs to be fact checked. But that's as far as I believe how it is.
I'd love to see his arm be broken. I really would. And if it is broken, then fantastic. I mean, people are very quick to say he did this, but he's using this. Fact is, he's done it, and you haven't. So,
So
why don't you go use what
no,
he
exactly.
used and do the same thing?
No, they can't.
That's what I think as well. Go if what he's doing is helping whoever it is so much. Go take it.
Then it'll help everyone
Go
else.
take it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so you talked a bit about going till failure, and you say that you don't count your reps, and I think that that's super different to a lot of other people I've had on here, a lot of other bodybuilders, but I really like that approach, and I was wondering, can you go into detail about what you mean about you don't count your reps, you go to failure? Like, can you explain firstly, what is failure to you? Is it the inability to complete another full rep, or is it like you go down and you go up and then you can't get it up and it starts going down? Or was it a form? Maybe your form goes off. You're like, okay, that's failure. Or what do you mean by failure?
So I'd say failure is the inability to perform another full rep, and then true failure is unable to do anything at all. Now, why I personally don't like counting reps, I'm not saying it's the right or the wrong way. This is my personal preference here, is that let's say you're so used to doing 10, 12 reps, right? And then you want to go and do more weight, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go do 10, 12 reps of 20 kilos because 2 weeks ago I did 10, 12 reps of 16 or 18 kilos. What if you are actually able to do more reps than 10 to 12? You know, like take your muscle to failure. That's what's going to result in the most optimal growth. Now, what I do believe in is definitely trying to keep doing more volume, but do as many reps as you can, because you are not going to be stronger every week. Some sessions are going to be worse than others. So push yourself as hard as you can, because yes, progressive overload is a thing, and progressive overload is what's going to bring you muscular hypertrophy. But at the end of the day, your muscle knows that it's under stress, and you don't want to be doing any less than you're able to do. That is how I view it. So I don't count reps. However, I do know, like, if I'm doing like 4 to 5 reps, okay, the weight is too heavy, I need to lessen the load here. But then if I pick up a weight and I'm like, okay, like this is pretty light and I can keep going, for more than I expected to go, I'm going to go until I fail, and then I'm just going to increase the weight next set. So I mean, if you're able to do 15 kilograms for 24 reps, what's the point of stopping at 16? So that's why. But what I pay attention to, for each exercise I'm doing is I understand and I know how much weight did I do last time, or however many times before, and how easy was this for me. So until this weight I am doing becomes way easier for me, that's when I'm going to then increase it. And however many reps I end up doing, so long as it's an efficient amount of reps, which I think is A+.
Yeah, you make a good point about doing the most that your body is capable of doing. And like you said, if your program is 16, but you can do 24, that set is a wasted set. You're not getting any stimulus. I mean, you're getting some stimulus, but you're not getting a growth stimulus, which is ultimately probably what you're looking for. Like you're only getting that growth stimulus after a certain threshold, maybe 20 or 21. If you could get 24 is probably where that growth is triggered.
I mean, like at times where I have used logbooks. At times where I have used logbooks, like, cool, I will calculate the total volume that I've done. But the next time I go and I review the program I did, I'm going to do my very best to not look at the reps I did. I'm going to look at the amount of sets I did and the weight I did, and then so yes, like I will count my reps, but I've got no target. So I'm just going to rep it out, and I'm going to be, okay, these are the reps I've got. Did I beat my previous best? No. Okay, it is what it is. But if I have beaten it, then I know, cool, we're progressing. If I haven't beaten it, I know, cool, we need to stay on this weight and stay on it until I am beating it consistently. Because there's no point, you cannot just keep increasing and increasing and increasing. Otherwise, you're all going to be lateral raising 32 kilos. It's not possible for most people, at least.
I love what you said there about beating it consistently. That's amazing. I've never actually heard of that, because most people say beat it once, now you go up. And I think what you've got there is a better approach to beating it consistently. And then you're like, cool, now I go up. Because most people say with the progression, as soon as you can do 8 reps of 10, then you should go to 9 reps of 10 or go up to 12 kilograms or whatever. But you're saying, no, go to 9 and then make sure you can do 9 again and again and again, and then go to 10 and then make sure you can do that again. And then maybe you go to a higher weight.
Like, it's just about being more efficient and easier and easier and easier. Like, be able to smash those 9 reps out of the park, like proper form, proper eccentrics, and then okay, once like it's a bit too easy now, let's increase.
On the eccentrics, do you take time? What's your time tempo for up and down?
I'd say with my eccentrics, probably 2-3 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay, so very slow. And then do you stop at the bottom for an isometric, or you just blast out?
I'd say that's like I just want to feel the muscle being put to work. I mean, ultimately, if I go into gym and listen, some guys are really technical about this stuff, and if that's how you want to go and train, then by all means, if that's what you want to do and what works for you, fantastic. But I'm going to drive myself absolutely insane if I am like, okay, each rep now, I'm going to count the number of seconds down for every single rep. And if I don't do this many seconds, then it's a disaster. And like, that's not how I wish to train, like I feel it does take the enjoyment out of training, and with the monotony that comes with diet and that comes with cardio and comes with everything else in the sport, there does need to be some level of enjoyment and freedom. And yes, training is super important and needs to be taken super seriously, but there needs to be some level of just taking it just a bit more chill. I'm not saying go half-ass for sessions, but you don't have to be completely meticulous, in my opinion. Just go in there, work hard, do your thing, leave when you're exhausted. Don't mess yourself up too much, because you can't grow what you can't grow from what you can't recover from. But do what you have to do. Just make it effective.
No, it's good advice. I think it's really good advice. And then on that, with the failure, just quickly, free weights versus machine versus cable. Or other.
Machines is, I'd say, go till failure, because it's keeping you in a fixed position. You know, your risk of injury is far lower than doing it with free weights. You know, if free weights, you're going till failure. You're going to increase the chance of injury. You know, like, especially like, let's say you're on and you're doing incline dumbbell flies. You know, like, you might tear something if you're not careful. You know, where if you're on a seated chest press machine, you can just keep going, and when you can't go anymore, all right, the machine's keeping you in place. You know, nothing's going to drop anywhere and cause major damage. So, cables as well, I'd say you can go until failure. I'd say it's safer. I'm a big fan of the cable machines because it keeps your muscles under constant tension.
Yeah. And then lastly, and then cables, would you go to failure on cables, or do you feel like you have to use too many accessory muscles to stay like stable and whatnot on the cable machines?
No, I'd say cables go to failure as well.
Okay, great. And then just briefly, what are your top 3 supplements, just your favorite ones or most useful ones?
You see, that's actually, it's a very, very open-ended question, because there's so many supplements that are important for so many different things. But if I was now talking about my own supplements that I personally, if I could personally choose only 3 supplements, I would say glutamine, creatine monohydrate, and multivitamin. I'd say those 3.
Yeah.
If I had to choose 3 and only 3, glutamine, because it is looking after your gut health, which I've learned very recently actually it's so important, and it's so overlooked and just ignored by so many people. You know, if you are not utilizing and absorbing your food properly, there can be a problem when it comes to optimizing your results. Creatine monohydrate for recovery and performance output, and multivitamin, because you need your vitamins in there. Now, I personally don't take a multivitamin. I take all my vitamins, you know, in singular tablet form, because a multivitamin is going to severely bring the dosages of all those vitamins down. Whereas if you take a singular vitamin, you can have as much as you want or don't want, really. You know, so for example, take something like vitamin B6. I take about 400 milligrams in the morning and 200 or 300 milligrams in the evening. Whereas, and vitamin C, I'll take 1,000 in the morning. But with the multivitamin, it's going to be really, really brought down a lot. So, and I can't say I want this vitamin and that vitamin and that vitamin, you know, if I'm being asked to give 3 supplements. So,
no, for sure. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Okay. Those are good ones. I use a multivitamin. I don't know if you've seen Dischem's high performance multivitamin. They've got pretty high dosages, maybe not high enough for you, but I think most people, they're pretty high dosages. And then I do, vitamin, D and K3. Those are D3. Kind of my main, and then, those are my main multivitamins, I guess. And then can we chat a little bit about following the plan and motivation, happiness, and how that kind of plays into following the plan and your bodybuilding and prep and stuff?
Following the plan in terms of like your diet and stuff like that?
Yeah, in terms of your diet, in terms of what your coach tells you to do. Like,
okay,
kind of
well, so ultimately, you know, where happiness can tie in, I believe, with following the plan is ultimately, you know, when you are unhappy or in a more depressed state, people will more often than not lean towards comfort and junk food to bring short-term and temporary relief. to their dismay, and that's going to interfere with a lot of things. Although I do understand it because I've been there myself, and motivation is something that is going to come and go. Unfortunately, if you rely solely on motivation, you are setting yourself up for failure at the end of the day. That is unfortunately something you cannot rely on. And usually when a lot of guys get started, whether it's like new year, new me kind of vibe, or I'm going to cut now, I'm going to bulk, or I'm starting prep, motivation's always going to be at an all-time high. And usually when motivation is at its highest, so your performance output and adherence to the plan. However, the only thing you can solely rely on here is your discipline, because unfortunately, happiness is something that in life is going to come and go, and so motivation. And if you are relying solely on happiness and solely on motivation when it comes to sticking to your plan, your results are going to stall. You may even backstep. So unfortunately, this comes down to discipline. You need to be, if you are serious about your long-term results, then you need to be following the plan, whether you are happy, whether you are sad, whether you are angry, whether you are heartbroken. You follow that plan, because then what's going to happen when you are happy again and you are motivated again, and now you haven't stuck to the plan because of how cocky you felt, and now we're back to square one. But if you have just stuck to the plan, irrespective of your feelings, and I understand that is easier said than done, trust me, I do, but that ultimately is what separates the best from the worst. If you have stuck to the plan, when your motivation and your happiness does come back, you're going to be so much more grateful that you stuck to the plan during those hard times in your life. In fact, I would attest to, the worse you feel, if you are still able to stick to the plan, you will go to bed every single night feeling better about yourself and somewhat of a sense of accomplishment, which is what you need during your tough time.
No, I totally agree. I think that there's a lot of benefit to sticking with the plan. And like you said, even if you're doing nothing else right in your life, but you're sticking to the plan, then you can have that little sense of accomplishment, which could be the difference between success or failure, as you said. And then what are your tips to keep stress low and stress management?
So it's coming from someone who's a natural born stressor. So I started off with a certain supplement I've used, and I really don't believe in medication in this regard. I don't believe in taking something that's going to completely mask the problem and not help you to deal with these issues head on. A supplement that has really, really helped me, and that I am a massive, massive fan on, and it's something I'm always going to take, is something called L-theanine, which just it naturally it regulates your mood and relaxes you whenever you're feeling uneasy. But in terms of also just stress management, I'd say just keep moving forward no matter what. Get up, get yourself out of bed, get in the shower, get outside, get moving, move your body, do what you have to do. It has been proven that movement and exercise is the best medicine to this kind of stuff. Even if you need to just put your phone away, put your earphones in, shut the world off for a bit, do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to live with a bit of stress. It's about how you deal with it. And not letting it get the best of you. You'll get work-related stress, relationship-related stress, life-related stress. Some people are more prone to than others. It's just not how you deal with it, and not relying on medication solely to deal with this issue. If you need to, do what you have to do if it's prescribed. But you cannot just pop a pill and just hope for everything to get better, because it's just gonna lead to reliance on this medication.
No, I completely agree. And then on that note of the mental health kind of thing, why do you think that men are less likely to say that they need help? And do you think that the mental health for men is swept under the rug? And why is that the case? And then briefly about how bodybuilding can mess up one's mental health.
I do believe that a lot less men seek out help than actually do seek out help, and it's very sad. You know, it's I don't know why in today's society you can be considered to be, you know, less masculine to want to express your feelings and just be in touch with your inner self and reach out for help if need be. Because to bottle up these feelings, it's only going to lead to an explosion at the end of the day. And in terms of, you also how bodybuilding can affect mental health. I mean, for me, bodybuilding is it's something that certainly helps keep me more grounded in life. So whether I'm feeling good or not, you know, I am ticking off boxes every single day. You know, it's giving me something to do. Whether it is, you know, and it's the small things: weighing your meals, eating your meals, hitting your steps, doing your cardio, going to the gym, weighing myself every morning. Like it's daily tasks which help keep me grounded. But where it can absolutely have an effect on mental health is bodybuilding is a very selfish sport, and bodybuilding will ostracize you from other people, because people who are not in the bodybuilding community, they may put up with it for a little bit, but it's going to reach a point where they really struggle to find common ground and to understand you and to make sense of what you're doing. You know, think about it. You know, if you are truly serious about this sport, and if you're not, it's not a problem. But people who are truly serious, you are walking around, you know, with your lunch tin. You are restricting where you can eat, what you can eat, what you can do, what you can drink. You know, your time, you almost structuring your days around working and around bodybuilding. You know, if you're not working, you are gymming. If you're not gymming, you are cooking. If you aren't cooking, you are eating. If you aren't eating, you are sleeping. If you aren't sleeping, you're getting your steps in. Everything revolves around bodybuilding. And your ability to do other things becomes so limited, and eventually, you know, like especially in a prep setting, you become less enthusiastic and less energetic to go out and do other things. So it ostracizes you, and if you are ostracized enough, it's going to lead to mental health issues. And again, to what we touched on earlier, ticking the boxes every single day, not for a couple weeks, not for a couple months. I'm talking years. Like, you know, it's that ties in with discipline. That's what's going to get you to where you want to be. And you look at the best guys in the world, they've been doing this day in and day out for some over a decade now. So if your regular social circle is one that is not into this sport and is not into this lifestyle, it's very difficult. You know, they can support you up to a certain degree, but you cannot expect them to just put up with it 24/7. You know, and even people who are in the bodybuilding community, if you're on prep and they're not on prep, you know, they still have a lot more freedom than you do. You know, they can still go out and have some cheat meals and go maybe have a few beers here and there. You cannot. You are very, very limited. And eventually just because of how monotonous it is, it really can catch up with you. So, and it's a lot easier said than done to keep level-headed when you're in a state like that, but you just have to keep pushing through it. That's how I believe bodybuilding can measure your mental health, just for the way it just ostracizes you.
Sure. And that, I'm sure, is something a lot of people who aren't in that space, they can't really relate to that. So thank you for giving us your perspective on that. And then lastly, before we finish off, can you give us some tips for deciding, is competing for you, and your tips to assess whether it might be for you or if it might not be for you?
When it comes to deciding is prep for you and bodybuilding for you, there's a number of things you have to look at. Is, okay, prep is very, very expensive. Apart from the show entry and the tan, and potentially you competing in a different city, flights, accommodation, transport, this and that. Sometimes if you're competing and you want to do it naturally, that costs a lot of money too. So financially, are you in the financial position to prep and prep effectively? Are your relationships stable? Because the deeper you get into prep, the more hungry you're going to become, the more moody you're going to become, more hungry you're going to become, you are going to become a less pleasant person to be around. Yes, you can fake it, you can put on a fake smile, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet there's going to be a couple things which may piss you off here or there, and people are going to take note of this. So are your relationships stable, and are your friends and family going to be totally understanding and supportive of what you're going through? And also, is this something you really, really want to do? Are you doing this just to get shredded? Because you can get shredded without doing a prep. Very much so. You can, are you doing this just to get shredded and to look good? Or are you doing this to be competitive? Or are you doing this to take yourself through the mental challenge, to go through a prep and to stand on stage and to say you've done it, and to go through this physical and mental battle you're about to embark in? And I would say prep is a lot more mentally challenging than it is physically challenging. Your head will start to mess with you. You will start to doubt yourself. I personally, I can recall, in every prep I've done, I'll send check-ins to my coach, and I'll think, damn, I'm not looking where I need to look. I am not looking good. I'm carrying a bit too much body fat. I'm not looking round enough. I'm looking too flat. And then I'll go back, after prep's finished, and I'll look at these photos and I'll think, damn, I looked absolutely amazing. What on earth was I so upset about? So are you doing this for also the right reasons? Because prep is going to challenge you again, mentally and physically. So if you're in this to better yourself and to put yourself through this challenge, and you have your friends and family who are supporting you, you have the financial means to do it, by all means, okay, I'd say prep is for you. But if you are doing this just for clout and just to look shredded, you don't have the financial means, you struggle to stay on diets, then there's maybe something you need to reassess. Because as I said, you can, when it comes to preparing for a show, if you want to look as good as you possibly can, then everything needs to be dialed in. Your training, your diet, your cardio, and if possible, your sleep as well. Because sleep will also take a bit of a hit, the leaner you get, and sometimes you're going to take stimulants as well. to burn more fat. This is going to affect too your sleep. But I'd say diet, training, cardio, that this needs to be dialed in. And if it is not something you can mentally do, with irrespective of how stuffed you feel, then prep is not going to be for you, unfortunately. And that's not a problem. Like there's no reason to feel bad about it. You know, like I would say every single time I've been on prep, there's been at least a moment or two in each period where I've questioned, do I really want to finish this? Why am I doing this? Is there something I really, really want? And then I think to myself, just the end goal. Okay, you've made it through this. You've done another personal and physical battle. You've come out a stronger person in multiple facets. You've evoked discipline in multiple areas of your life from this. Then I'd say prep's for you. Then by all means go for it. But this is something you have to be really, really serious about and certain you want to do. Like, I do not think you should go and do a prep if you're going to not give it your 100%. Some people do, and that's okay. That you won't catch me doing that. Like, regardless of how I'm feeling, if I feel I'm looking, if I feel I'm going to be ready or not, I'm going to tick off every single box every single day. It's all about ticking those boxes.
Yeah, it's all about ticking those boxes, as you said, and lots for people to think about and lots for people to consider before starting a prep. And I think that'll be very helpful for anyone thinking about it, giving them something to think about. And if they tick those boxes, then good luck to them for their prep.
And again, what I want to just mention as well, just for being ready for prep or not, is, you know, have you discussed this with your friends, with your family, with your boyfriend, your girlfriend? Are they aware what's going to be going down now? Because this can absolutely not only have a negative effect, but destroy relationships if you're not careful.
Absolutely. No, it's true. And you've got to think about, like you said, it's a selfish thing to do, but you've got to have a support system of some sort. Yeah.
It's totally selfish.
And then lastly, what are your parting words of wisdom to the listeners who are looking to embark on their own journey of muscle growth and bodybuilding?
Do your very best not to compare yourself to other people, because social media is fake, number one. Number two is, if you are not looking at it on social media, let's say you're seeing them in person, use them as motivation to get to where you want to get to. Do not compare yourself to them. Compare yourself only to yourself. Stay consistent, follow the plan, trust the process, and just enjoy it. This is about bettering yourself. This is a journey of self-improvement, self-fulfillment, self-betterment, and comparison at the end of the day is going to be the thief of joy, and we're all guilty of doing it. We're all guilty of comparing ourselves to other people, but it is best to look at other people who look better than us in our opinions, or maybe it is objective. Use it as motivation to push us forward, to strive to be better, and be happy to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, because in order to progress, you know, diamonds are made under pressure. In order for us to keep getting better and better and better, you need to just grind as hard as you can, irrespective of the circumstances.
Absolutely. And what a nice way to end off. Thank you so much for your time. That betterment principle is exactly why the podcast slogan is bigger, stronger, better. So I think if you follow what you said, you'll definitely be self-improving and getting bigger, stronger, and better. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for your time. Really appreciate it. And good luck for finishing your prep.
Thank you for having me.
Only a pleasure. Good luck for your next stage appearance in 4 weeks. How many weeks?
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm 6 weeks out tomorrow.
Okay,
actually.
Very exciting. Which show is that?
It's Our Candy Josie on the 4th of May. So it's the first regional of the year. So yeah, it's an exciting one. It's our first time competing not in December.
Okay.
So I'm prepping in the cold now, which is great. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Best of luck and looking forward to seeing you dominate the stage.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
I am glad. Cheers.
Awesome, Roscoe. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Cheers, man. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Muscle Growth Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and reach more people just like you. Don't forget to follow us on all major social media platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X. Find us at the Muscle Growth Podcast and at Reps with Roscoe. For more insights, exclusive content, and full episodes, visit themusclegrowthpodcast.com. Your support truly makes a difference, so please like, share, comment, and follow. We're grateful for every bit of it. Until next time, keep pushing your limits and staying focused on getting bigger, stronger, and better.
No.
Are you messing with me, yeah? With Goob? Okay, because if people want to go and dig deep enough,
ways, yeah.
I was roasted on that channel.
What did you do?
600,000 views, my friend.
Look at that.
So basically,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you after this. It was pretty sick because he's put a video up there of me benching 140 for 6. So like, yeah, that's fucking cool. But my God, did I receive so much hate in my inbox. Oh, okay. So basically, I don't think there's any secret.
Okay.
I'm a massive Ryan Terry fan. He was my screensaver. On my phone for a lot. I mean, come on, he's the best Mr. Olympia in the world, best men's physique in the world. I love men's physique, so I can't love Ryan Terry, and just everything about him. He's like one of my idols. And I was sent something from someone else, and I didn't realize how big Goob was in the industry. And oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
He was roasting Ryan Terry for photoshopping. And I'm thinking, is Ryan Terry going and photoshopping himself on stage when he's winning Mr. Olympia? No. So I commented.
Okay.
And listen, it wasn't very nice of me, what I said. It wasn't nice. But I said, instead of scrutinizing the best men's physique athlete in the world, you should hit the gym yourself. That was what I said. Next thing I know, I'll go off my phone for 2-3 hours, and I go back on my phone, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'll be honest with you, Roscoe, I was getting a lot of hate from guys in the industry, in the South African industry. Don't be sorry because I don't speak to those people. I don't associate myself with those people. I'm with positive people, and that's why I'm positive. So that's basically what happened.
Made a video
about the video. But this was like 7 weeks ago. He made a video.
Yeah.
Brandon Hendrickson commented, "Have you ever in your life?" Yeah, he did. He called Goob petty, by the way. Not me, but that's he. Like, I was like, oh my God! Like, and I saw Jeremy Buendia liked it. I'm like, what? No! I don't want this. I don't need this. I was so anxious, but now I look back at it and I laugh. Like, Goob and I actually had a very brief, maybe 5 or 6 messages back and forth on Instagram afterwards. Good vibes, but yeah, that did happen. But please go back to what you're asking me about Goob and the negative.
Goodbye, Gains Gurus. Thank you for listening, and see you on the next episode of TMGP.